everyone, Kaz here, and today we are going through my MBA Season 8 semi-finals versus Dracogon, coach of the Vegas Golden Gallades. Before we get into this matchup, I should first of all give a shout out to Scythe for the mocks this week, and second to say I've actually lost all the information of what these sets specifically do, so I'll be giving a generic this is good for so-and-so reason, but I won't be giving you statistical figures. Let's get into the matchup. This is a rematch from week 3, though we've had some change up to our team, and our opponent's team has stayed the same. My team consists of Hisuian Zorak, Screamtail, Klefki, Araquanid, Kilowattrel, Overcool, Mega Glalie, Stunfisk, Terragogoat, Terracarkle, and Warturtle. While my opponent's team consists of Crobat, Archeops, Terralectabuzz, Silvally, Vaporeon, Magnezone, Diancie, Piloswine, and Dhelmise. My opponent has a very scary team and is a very scary battler, giving us our only loss in the actual season, winning 2-0 against us. The only thing I can say with this team is I very much doubt a Terralectabuzz comes, as it's not too good into my team. But any of the other 8 are very, very valid and very good. There are a couple ones on my team that are really good into half of his mons, and then weak into the other half, which can become really annoying, and it kind of screwed us over last time. Such as Kilowattrel being really good into something like Crobat and Archeops, as well as the Vaporeon, but not good into Magnezone, Diancie, Piloswine, and Silvally, depending on its typing. So when my opponent last time didn't bring either Crobat or Archeops, my Kilowattrel ended up struggling in the end game. Same thing happens with Mega Glalie, really good into the flying types, but kind of walled by the Piloswine, the Vaporeon, Magnezone depending on its set, Diancie depending on its set. So let's get into this. First up, we have Mega Glalie. Refrigerate is our ability. Our EVs are 252 attack, 36 defense, 220 speed with a jolly nature, return, Ice Shard, Iron Head, and Earthquake. I do believe this is for a jolly Silvally, if I had to guess. This can be really good into the matchup, though it does struggle in getting some of the KOs due to us being a jolly nature and not adamant. Ice Shard is mainly there for something like the Archeops to get into defeatist range. It also does very good damage into something like the Crobat. Iron Head is there for a Diancie, and obviously Earthquake is for mainly the Magnezone. We then have a potential win con of this week in Booster Energy Screamtail. Photosynthesis our ability. We are 16 HP, 188 attack, 252 defense, and 52 speed with an impish nature. Bulk Up, Stomping Tantrum, Psychic Fangs, and Drain Punch. I do believe this is for our defensive investment allows us to live 2 head smashes from an Archeops. I think that's adamant non-banded. So, very defensive against a lot of his physical threats. I do really well into them and can just pretty much set up on them. Stomping Tantrum is there for the Magnezone. Originally I had Crunch, which might have been a little better for something like the Dhelmise, but I had to change it because a defensive Magnezone was just taking nothing from Drain Punch. Drain Punch is obviously there for the Silvally as well as the Piloswine. And then Psychic Fangs is our stab, allows us to hit the Crobat and other things on the field just for decent damage. So far, looking at the team, I struggle with the said Magnezone. If it's Scarfed, I'm in a lot of trouble, so I ended up bringing Stunfisk again. We are Sugarberry, 248 HP, 176 defense, and 84 speed def with a bold nature. We're Earth Power, Discharge, Toxic, and Stealth Rock. I'm not 100% sure on the exact EVs, but I believe it was deliver a certain amount of tri attacks from a Magnezone, and the rest just in defense to try and live hits from stuff like the Piloswine, Silvally, Archeops, stuff like that. This can be annoying for my opponent to deal with, but it can also be something that my opponent can start setting up on, or just take advantage of its overall passiveness in the matchup. Which is why we have something like Toxic to try and get some whittling damage down. We have the Discharge for the flying types, Earth Power for that Magnezone, and then Stealth Rock if we are able to get that up, though it's not a massive priority in this matchup. Next up, we have our potential designated lead. I did actually make another designated lead and then didn't use it in this match, but this is going to be our lead. We are Focus Sash, Hisuian Zoroark, 252 special attack, force for death, and 252 speed with a modest nature. Agility, Nasty Plot, and it's actually cut off on the screen, but it is Focus Blast. Focus Blast. This can actually work very well as long as, depending on what comes out first. If I can start getting faster than all my opponent's mons, get a Nasty Plot up, Shadow Ball plus Focus Blast hits really hard into my opponent, and I just have to hope I land Focus Blast. Then we have another potential win con. I believe it will rather be Screamtail, or this will be leading us to victory, which is our Terra Grass Go-Go Sapsipar's ability. We are loaded dice this week. 200 attack, 116 defense, and 192 speed with an adamant nature. We are Bulk Up, Throat Chop, Bullet Seed, and Earthquake. Terra Grass Bullet Seed after a Bulk Up allows any variant of like Vaporeon or Diancie to just die. We kill most Piloswine sets, and we do so much damage into everything else. Throat Chop is there for the Delmise and somewhat the Crobat, though the Crobat is like our biggest threat to this mon succeeding. And then EQ obviously for that Magnezone. If we're at +2, I do believe Bullet Seed also kills any variety of Silvally, like normal, so an unresisted typing. But if it goes something like Poison or Steel, I've obviously got that EQ, which can take that out. I think this can be really strong in the matchup as long as I can try and get that Crobat gone early, or it doesn't come like it didn't last time. Though I have a feeling one of the flying types will come instead of the Delmise. Crobat's a little better, but Archeops offensively is just really strong in the matchup. And last up we have our quote-unquote designated lead, as it was designed to be a lead, and then I didn't lead it because I forgot a mechanic of the game, aka Welcome Overcall. We are Sugarberry Intimidate as our ability, 88 HP, 252 attack, 4 defense, 164 speed with a jolly nature. We are Taunt, T-Spikes, Throat Chop, and Smart Strike. The original plan was to obviously get out the T-Spikes and taunt something coming in. I was predicting rather the Piloswine or the Diancie to be lead. It could be a Hazards, or if it's Diancie, it could be something like rather Trick Room or Rock Polish, which I'd like to taunt and then get damage off with that Smart Strike. The problem that I forgot is that if it's a lead Piloswine with rocks, Oblivious actually means it can't be taunted. And I completely forgot that until we were just going to start the battle. And I was like, oh, I should probably change what my lead's going to be. Otherwise, 3 rocks into my team looks pretty decent. Especially against my Sash and against the Glalie. Other than that, this can be a pretty decent mon. I went through a couple different items on it. I was also sashed at one point because a offensive Diancie, if I'm taunting it and it just clicks Power Herb Meteor Beam, I died. But yeah, Smart Strike is there because Gunk Shot is literally doing nothing to like max HP Diancie. I needed that 4x super effectiveness. And yeah. That is the team. I'm not very confident in this matchup. I do believe there's merit to some of my mons winning, but otherwise, Dracogon's too good of a player, man. I feel like he's gonna get the back-to-back on me. but we will find out. Hope to see you in the battle. Hello and welcome to the battle. My opponent elected to not bring the Magnezone, which was really threatening, into me, and instead did bring the Crobat on and kept the Dhelmise, which I was quite shocked about, but Dhelmise offensively can work into this matchup. I just thought because last time I had the no item Sap Go-Go, it might not come. We're going to lead the Hisuian Zoroark, though in the matchup you'll probably see lead Overcall might have been a little bit better, but who knows. We're going to lead it disguised as our Screamtail as our opponent elects to lead the Crobat. I thought this could just be maybe a Toxic comes off, a U-turn, something like this, but no, it is just a Taunt set, which completely screws me over from getting up in Agility. I'm going to switch out to keep my Focus Sash as I go out into Stunfisk and a U-turn. Unfortunately, no Static Power. And into Piloswine. This is pretty bad for me, I cannot lie, as this can get up some free rocks against me or just get a free hit, which I don't really switch into. It's going to elect to click Substitute on me, which I didn't even consider in the team builder a Substitute Piloswine, which completely blocks my Toxic. I'm already only 3 turns in, and I'm so far on the back foot, it's ridiculous. I'm going to elect to go out into the Overquill as he gets up rocks. I'm going to click Smart Strike to be able to get rid of this, and I'm fine on just eating up an EQ and trying to do some sort of damage. Get a little bit chip on this Vaporeon. I'm going to taunt it in case it's like a Wish variant, and I'm just going to take a hard Scald and get up my Toxic spikes. Maybe I should have attacked again, but I feel like in the instance where Crobat is not default, which is already shown taunt and U-turn, I feel like it's got to have Roost and a Flying Stab. So it might be that Dhelmise, and if it's not boost, I can get that Toxic. Or Poison, shall I say, since it's just one stage. And lose my Overquill, which is fine. We're going to go out into our Go-Go. Terragrass Go-Go can just hit really hard into this, as they do elect to go Crobat. I'm just going to elect to get up some chip on this Crobat. Potentially forced a Roost turn at some point. Obviously I'm going to have to switch out. I'm going to go into my Stunfisk, and it shows to be Super Fang. So this kind of shocked me. I was thinking, probably stupidly, that it was still Roost's last move, when in actuality it did not have a Flying Stab. Though throughout the game doesn't show that last move, so I'm playing as if it does have that Brave Bird, which really does screw me over. If I had maybe thought about it a little bit more and thought that it was last move, that Roost, it ended up being last move Defog, I'm pretty sure. So it didn't have either of the scary things that I thought it'd have, which does really screw me over. And if I took just a little bit of time, maybe I would have noticed it, but I'm just so far in the back foot, I'm just trying to scramble my head through this game. I'm going to go into a Dhelmise, so he has a pretty free Rapid Spin turn, but it does get poisoned. Going to get a tiny bit of chip with Discharge, and I'm just going to elect to stay in. He does knock off, and I do elect to get up my rocks. Going to go out into my Screamtail, expecting the Rapid Spin, but I know since I don't have an item anymore, Poltergeist doesn't hit me, and if it is Anger Shot, it's not doing too much if I can start getting up bulk ups. I am outspeeding this. Bulk up does show to be Anger Shot, which does a decent amount of damage, but I can just kind of chew it. I'm going to elect to Psychic Fangs and get a very lucky crit on this Vaporeon, and I'm just going to keep hitting it. Apologize for the crit, and it does show to be Toxic. If this wasn't Toxic and I got that crit, maybe I had a chance, but it could have been Wish Protect, and just kind of screwed me over. It does show to be the Protect. I think it was Wish Protect. He just didn't elect to throw up that Wish, probably because of the crit. And then Screamtail's going to go down. Screamtail here, actually... no, I would have died. I was thinking something else after the game, but I would have died to the poison. Because originally I had Crunch on here, but I moved it for Stomping Tantrum for that Magnezone. But this doesn't matter at all. We would have both just gone down anyway. Gonna like to go Go-Go, as he does go into Piloswine. Like to go into this Crobat. I'm just going to Bullet Seed. I can't really be playing around trying to get a Throat Chop off, as it does nothing to the Piloswine, and that can just kill me. Go out into the Sunfish to sack it. It's going to elect to taunt me, and go back out into this Piloswine and get off another Substitute, which really sucks for me, as I do not break the Substitute. It's going to take me out. Thankfully, I do have a Loaded Dice Bullet Seed Go-Go, but Ice Shard is going to do a whole lot, especially a crit. Don't think it really mattered too much, as even though it doesn't have Flying Stab, U-Turn, even without the crit, I do believe killed this Go-Go, but it is just a little feels bad. But thankfully, I can take out the Piloswine. Gonna go out into Sil Valley and get off a Flame Charge, which I did not expect it to be Flame Charge, and this puts me in a really bad position. I do have somewhat of an out. Unfortunately, my Sash is going to be broken with the Hisuian Zoroark. I just need to land Focus Blast, really. I'm going to elect to be Psychic Fangs and not Crunch, thankfully. And Focus Blast does hit. I know Ice Shard from Mega Glalie can kill this. And then it all comes down to 1, can I kill the Diancie in 1? Or 2, can I get the Iron Head flinch? If I flinch Iron Head this, I win. Though the RNG is doing nothing for me. It would have also felt kind of cheesy if I did manage to get that flinch, but that is 2 games in a row where Dracogon has beat me with a Diancie. Diancie's really betraying me from last season, where it took me to a championship, and, you know, it's just a little sad. Why does Diancie have to do this to me? But I did have a lot of fun this season. I do need to try and get my vengeance on Dracogon at one point, but I was so far on the back foot this game, getting predicted every turn, because I think I was playing too monotone isn't the right word, but I was playing too straightforward, and Dracogon just read me like a book. He predicted my moves before I even made them. So yeah. Hope you guys did enjoy this season. Good luck to both of the finalists in Dracogon and Snake. I wish them the best of luck. Thank you very much for watching my MBA Moonlight Division run for the Season 8. Take care. Hi. So I just want to do one final thing for this season and just kind of go over and have like an overview of my overall team. We'll first go over the mons that I lost along the way. One being Mesprit. Mesprit felt a little bit awkward on the team. I think in low tier it's a very good threat, both offensively and defensively, especially with it getting access to mystical power now and having a lot of coverage. But with this team it just felt a little bit awkward, a little too passive and not bulky enough to be a very defensive mon, and it just kind of ended up rather being the 6th or 7th mon for the weeks that I was here, and I believe my trade for the Screamtail was a much better play. The other mon that I ended up dropping was Whiscash. Whiscash only came to 1 game, and it was only considered really for said game against Greedy Dog and his River Room, which didn't end up coming. And my opponent predicted the Wish Cache. It ended up being a, I believe, Terra Fire Pikachu that had both Trailblaze and Grass Knot, so it just kind of died and put me in a bad position. Overall, I don't think Wish Cache is like the worst mon. It was only 3 points, so it didn't feel that bad having drafted it. It does give you both hazards. It could do some stuff as a Terra Captain, as it does have Dragon Dance, but I feel like it's pretty slow to try and actually utilize that. Overall, it just wasn't worth picking back up, really. Then we'll go to some of like the new additions. War Turtle, I never brought. I actually considered it in all 3 of the games that I believe I had access to it for, against LPT, against Magma, and against Dracogon. Each time trying to see, will a Shell Smash set work? And no, it did not. It did not have enough power to be able to try and sweep, and it did not have enough speed to be able to justify trying said sweep. So it never came, which does kind of sadden me. I do like to try and bring all of my mons at least once, but I picked it up towards the end of the season. It doesn't really matter too much. Next in our Terra Carcol, which came to a single game against LPT. I thought the set that I brought could cook. Unfortunately, it didn't end up doing as well as I had hoped it would. But I think Terra Carcol was a pretty good lower tier Terra Captain at that 2-point range. I thought it was very good value, giving me a rapid spinner, and also can be very surprisingly bulky. With the Eviolite, and then getting rid of that 4 times weakness is really good. I just kind of wish I had grass coverage naturally. I know Colossal has Solar Beam, I do believe, or maybe even it doesn't get that. So yeah, just a little bit saddening on that, as multiple times I was contemplating using it. I was hoping it had that grass coverage, and it did not. So a little unfortunate. Finally, let's go to mons that we actually used throughout the season. Hisuian Zorok being my first overall pick, and one of my more expensive ones at 17 points. I don't think I played too well at using Hisuian Zorok throughout the season. I think mainly it came as a lead, or my disguise wasn't that great at using it. Its typing is one of the best typings in the game, and I think it is a very good offensive threat in low tier. And that 110 speed is just one of the main reasons I drafted it, as it's just a great speed tier to build around, I do believe, especially in low tier. I enjoyed using it. It just didn't really do a whole lot for me the entire season. Other things on my team put in a lot more work, but I do believe it forced a relatively good amount in the team builder for it to be a justified mon to draft. And maybe this team, because overall the team wasn't the greatest. It had good mons, but synergy-wise it was a bit, so teams, I do believe, can make Hisuian Zorok really work and be really powerful. Screamtail. So glad I got to use this thing, as it was what I originally wanted before I got sniped by Greedy Dog, and thankfully he traded it to me for my Mesprit. I will still say I believe Screamtail is one of the more offensive threats in the metagame. It's so bulky and fast that setting up with it is relatively easy, especially if you pair it with something like I did with Klefki and getting screens, or even if it's just like a booster defense set. Mainly booster speed for these sets are really good, as it just gives you, a choice scarf without limiting your moves, and then if you're setting up with a Screamtail, you're not switching out. I never actually brought any of the bulkier Screamtail sets, as I just saw. I I really I really wanted to just bring offensive Screamtail in. Defensive Screamtail was considered a couple times, and I do believe it's just disgusting in low tier. And if I do come back to low tier, I'd like to try and draft it again and use it just kind of both offensive and defensively. I do believe sometimes I was trying to shoehorn those offensive sets in, but it really worked and became one of my kill leaders. I have a thing with my teams where I never have one absolutely major kill leader. I just have multiple mons that are all around the same. I do believe I had 4 kill leaders all at the same, or maybe one of them had like an indirect kill as well, where yeah, I think Screamtail, Arachnid, Overquill, and I want to say Go-Go, but it might have been Mega Glalie, are all around the same position with the kills this season. But yeah, I really enjoyed using Screamtail and would love to use it again. Klefki. Klefki has probably is the best typing in the game in Steel and Fairy. But bulk-wise, it's not the greatest. Prankster is just an amazing ability. Prankster T-Wave, Prankster Screens. I didn't bring hazards a lot. I draft a lot of hazards and then end up not using them. I do think low tier is kind of a relatively fast-paced metagame, and just trying to set up sweep works out a little bit more than trying to like hazard stack. But I can see the appeal of it. Klefki was like the one mon this season where I very rarely got the chance to make an in-depth EV spread. It just kind of came as somewhat of a glue piece where I just did max to try and deal with something, like dealing with the Kingdra against Magma Pulse, or getting up the Rain against LPT, which I didn't need, but I did anyway. Arachnid at the beginning of the season was a menace. Very rarely did I, one, bring Sticky Web or have the option to click Sticky Web, as Liquidation was just decimating teams. So strong offensively. Though towards the end of the season, it did kind of peter off against the teams that I was going up against. People having stuff like Dracovish, which just completely walls me, Kingdra, which completely walls me, Terra Hisuian Sliggoo completely walls me, and its offensive potency went down a lot. It's a mon which hits super hard, but it's because of its ability, and it's only water that hits very hard. It also doesn't get a lot of coverage, and even if it did, with its very mediocre attack at 70, it's not hitting that hard. You really need it to be like very physically offensive and to be like super effective for those hits to work. Like Leech Life could work, but most of the time I'm just clicking water, as it just does the most damage. Next up, we have... I've somehow changed this. How did I change this? Okay. Next up, we have our Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel also had the same issue with Arachnid, where Kilowattrel was very good in some matchups and kind of meh in others, where it would get completely walled by ground types. And then like dragon types would also wall it, steel types would wall it. It has a very good speed tier in 125, which was one of the main reasons I drafted it, and can be very good offensively. 105 special attack is nothing to scoff at, especially in low tier. But it needs to land moves, man. I think I missed 4 hurricanes in one of my matchups. 3 or 4. If it lands moves, it's great. Otherwise, it just kind of I couldn't justify bringing it a lot of the time in the seasons. All the times that I did, it just felt like a feels bad that it's around and doesn't actually do a whole lot against my opponent's team. Though it's another mon which I do believe forced a whole lot of prep for my opponents. I would like to use it again at some point. I feel like as a Terra captain, it would be great. Though I doubt low tier will ever do mid tier or high tier Terras, which I'm fine with. I don't like high tier Terra. That just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Overquill. I was very happy at using Overquill this season. It's a very mixed role of being rather could be very offensive or can be a defensive kind of glue piece for the team. I really enjoyed it, though I do believe actually might be my kill leader due to a indirect kill. But I really enjoyed it. I feel like I should have probably brought Rain Sweeper set more. I would have loved to bring a Scale Shot set, but I just never had the opportunity really to with this team, as it was always trying to do something. And I think a couple of games it just ended up getting like sacked, which is kind of sad, but building with it was pretty fun. Obviously Poison and Dark is such a great typing as it's only weak to ground, and I would love to use it again because it can also be like a hazard sacker, but I think I brought hazards once or twice and was only able to get them up once. Yeah, it was a fun. Mega Glalie, Bonya's favourite biter. Well, not his favourite biter, but I'm on that he really wanted me to draft. It's really strong in low tier. Its offenses are really good, plus refrigerate, return, OHKOs a lot of mons, or 2-hit KOs a lot of mons that don't resist. The main issue I had with it is speed. 100 speed is fine, but any Scarfers were beating Mega Glalie, as its bulk is just so bad. 80s across the board it can be okay, but with Ice as your defensive typing, Scarfers just beat you. Hazards are really good into you since you can't run like boots or anything like that. And it was just kind of hard to bring sometimes. Its priority option, Ice Shard, really good. It's just sad that it doesn't get boosted by Refrigerate. Freeze Dry, I believe, is one of the best moves in low tier. And one of the main reasons I got Mega Glalie. That also doesn't get boosted by Refrigerate, but Freeze Dry was hitting very hard into a lot of mons. It was good. It was just, I feel like I had to play in a certain way to be able to try and get it off. But it did very well this season. I'm pretty pleased with it. And I believe we're going to our final two mons. So we have Stunfisk. I am a Stunfisk believer. I used it last season and got a championship. It's a mon that won't come to every single game. And as a ground type, it's good. As an electric type, it's not the greatest electric type, but it's just really bulky. 109 HP, 84 defense, and 99 SPDF. It can be very versatile. Very reliable rocker. Unfortunately, it doesn't get something like Volt Switch, but it also gets stuff like Toxic and Toxic stuff down, and then Earth Power Burst Discharge. Just very good stabs. I do believe it might be a little bit better in just regular Nat decks, as it can wall those top end threats, which kind of gave me the idea of Stunfisk. As in regular, it can kind of wall Tapu Koko, Tornadus Therian, Zeraora, some of those like top threats which Stunfisk just kind of sits on, which I think is very funny. It's normally a very good price point, and yeah, for this it was 4 points, so very good. I also know someone was having pretty good success in it with hyper low tier, as they allow this, and it's so bulky. You got decent defensive typing in hyper low tier, and it's just obnoxious. But Stunfisk is my boy. Everyone makes fun of me for it, but I will take it to the day I die. Stunfisk is a good Pokemon. And then finally, we have our main Terra Captain of this season in Dracogon. Dracogon is my goat. It is so strong. Having a mon that has a immunity in the Sap Sipper is just very good, and I believe in low tier especially, grass terrors can just be very strong, as although grass isn't the best typing overall, having access to stab grass plus something else just allows you to hit a whole lot of things, a whole lot of common typings you see, such as the rocks, the grounds, the waters, and it's just very good. And it did carry me through a lot of games. I wish it got more on the special side, as it's like 97 special attack is nothing to scoff at. It just needs more special moves. And then if it got something like, I don't know, Calm Mind, Nasty Plot, or just something where I can boost special attack, it would have been so much better. But it just felt really reliable all season. Bulk is relatively okay. 123 HP is great. 81 SPDF is workable. The 92 defense is a bit but being able to pair that with bulk up, it can be really good. And I was really happy to use it this season. There was one mon that I forgot to mention, as I dropped it relatively early on. In Terracloth. Terracloth came to a single game, which was our very first game, as a Terra bug set, which is very funny. Which could have really cooked in that matchup if my opponent brought the mons that I predicted they'd bring, and they probably should have brought, but they didn't. It was good for that one match, and then Dracogon for this team just felt so much better. I do believe Cloth is one of the better Terra Captains we allow, but Gogo just felt way more reliable throughout the season, particularly with the team that I have. So overall, I'm relatively happy with my performance. I think I took a ragtag bunch to very far. I enjoyed using a lot of these mons, just not together. Some mons I'd love to use again, such as the Screamtail and Overquill, Stunfisk. But there's some mons that I probably wouldn't use again, just because I want to try more stuff. Like, I don't think I'll get War Turtle again. It's not good, unfortunately. Mega Glalie, maybe in the future, but I feel like for the moment, I've done as much as I can with Mega Glalie. I'm pretty sure I only had one death throughout the season. I tried my best with it. I think I did Bonya relatively proud with the Biter, but other than that, probably not again. Hisuian Zorok, probably not again, unless I have points left over and it works really well with the team. I feel like I'll use Klefki again at some point. Kilowattrel maybe. Gogo, I'm assuming we're going to raise its points, because I think 3 points for Terragogo is pretty broken. Carkol, another good low-tier Terra Captain. Araquanid, really strong. I don't know if I'll use it again unless I'm in a league where I can terror it, and it'll be really strong. Or I just have access points and want an actual mon to use Sticky Webs on a team where it can just click Sticky Webs. I feel like low tier is just click Liquidation, Surf, or Hydro Pump. That's all you need. That's all you've got to do with Araquanid and low tier. It's so strong. But yeah, that is the overall of the season. Thank you very much for watching, and have a lovely day.